Guys, so I was saying in my personal testimony, where I landed up in this brothel, but I actually skipped a couple of crucial steps, and I need to go back and explain just something more. That I was the 16-year-old boy. I was living in Reiterwacht, and I'm thinking back on all of this now, and I was fearless, man. I was fearless. At this stage, I was so enraged. I was like the teacher told me. He said to me, "You like an animal. You had no. There was just absolutely no personality involved. Whatever happened to me, I would just snap and trigger, And I remember I carried this big knife in the back of my school bag, and I mean, I was just out of control completely, and I don't think anybody grasped out to help me, apart from that one teacher that I told you wasn't an honest teacher. And I'm not saying that some of the others didn't try and help. I'm just saying that I don't think they knew how to cope with someone like that. And I mean, at this stage, I was battered and bruised, and I was kicked around my whole life. And finally, I'm fit. I'm starting to get a little bit of weight, and I can actually start fighting back. And unfortunately, I did. And I honestly regret every single thing I've ever done. And I mean, I remember one day sitting in class, and I got up. I wore earrings. I had an earring here. I had two in this ear. Eminem just came out back then, and I was a heavy Eminem fan. Always looked up to him. Today, I think, he well done. He's achieved a lot in his life, but he should have sought God and not money. So I actually feel sorry for him. But anyway, so I remember with this knife the one day, and like I say, I was just fearless, man. I was fearless. I can honestly say that somebody that has nothing to lose in life is dangerous, eh? It's probably the most dangerous person you will meet in your life. So next time you deal with someone on the streets, just think twice about where he's coming from, or what the individual might have to lose or not have to lose. I don't know. But like I said, I was honestly fearless, eh? And I remember in school, like I just got up in class. If I decided I'm getting out now, I stood up and I walked out. I mean, what more could have happened to me? And unfortunately, a lot of people didn't understand me. Although there was a part of me that always stood up for the bullied kids in school. I remember that. I didn't like seeing that, and I think I related to it because I used to be bullied, and at this time I could throw a good punch, eh? And I started realizing. I remember that in one of the schools I went to, I think it was in Standard 4. They used to call me Iron Man because, like I said, I was a Christian boy, and I think I know God protected me. I know He protected me. And that's why He came to fetch me, because I'm resilient, eh? I'm resilient. God's made me. I'm His child, and He always knew that I'm going to come fetch you, naughty boy, one day. But anyway, so I was a difficult guy at this stage. So like, I was sitting in class the one day, and I actually feel sorry for this English. I think she was our English teacher, and she was a good lady. I remember she used to tell me that she's got this orphan daughter, that she's adopted, and she really wanted to introduce us because she thought, we would relate. And I'm not saying we were going to date or anything, but she was always too scared of me. She said, like, I fear you, George. I don't know what your next move will be. Like, unpredictable. And I relate to this now, and I think back, and I actually, if you watch this and you know who I am, I do apologize. I'm a changed man today. Thank you, you helped me. But anyway, so I remember, like, I had this small little school bag, and I would just take this and throw it at not at her, but I would get so upset in class, like I could not control my anger, and just throw the suitcase against the wall, and people would just duck out of the way. And like I said, I was just like honestly out of control there. And I carried this knife, and this one girl in school one day, I don't know, and I was at this stage. I mean, people would tell me to just get naked and run down the streets, and I would do it. Like, I was absolutely fearless. I didn't fear anything. And so I took this knife out the one day because she made me upset. And I said, I want to stab you with this. And she said, well, stab me. And I like stabbed her. And I stabbed like in her heel or something. And then she ran away. And thank God I didn't throw it. Like, thank you, my Heavenly Father. But I threw the knife at her. And it sort of pegged right behind her. I mean, I could have killed her that day. And like I said, God's always protected me. And sure, He's been good to me. Sure, He was good to me. But I've also read the Bible that He's sort of kind-hearted towards orphans and widows. He's got a special place for them. And I know why now, because we lack the stability, we lack the father figure in our lives to teach us what we need, you know. But anyway, so, and this is the first time I probably should have died as well, and that's why I thought I'm going to go back on this, and I need to tell you guys this story. So I was on and off the streets. I think I was about 17 at this stage. My business partner's mother took me in at this stage of life, and yeah, so I don't know if I went to go sleep over at a friend's house in Goodwood or something. And by the way, this guy also, he was a gay guy, which I found out later, and he also tried to take advantage of me one night when I was pissed drunk. And like, I've been in horrific places in my life and situations where, like, I honestly don't wish it upon anybody. Like, I really don't. But anyway, so I was there the one night, and I remember there was a pot of tablets standing on the side table, and I don't know why everybody said to me, like, take the tablets, and it was a lot of tablets. It was like a handful of tablets, and I just took it because I was dead. Like I said, I feared absolutely nothing. I had no regard for my life. I had no regard for other people's lives. And how I got home, I don't know. I had a bicycle, and I actually remember getting to my business partner's house, or his mother's house. I mean, we were still boys back then. And I remember swaying on the grass and like the bicycle, and I like trampled through the house like all muff. And then I don't know why, but somebody, I think his mother picked up the day, there's something wrong with George. She actually phoned the ambulance, and they came to fetch me, and they rushed me to hospital, and they pumped out my stomach, and they saved my life that day. I mean, I should have died. It's one of the days I should have died. And then there's some other horrible things that happened there as well. I was about 16, 17 years old, and it's heartbreaking talking about these things because I had no money. I was in the street. I had nowhere, nothing to do, and it's hard. It's something that I've never confessed to anybody, and I feel like I have to talk about this because God's told me to be honest, and He said to me to go public with my life story, which I'm doing now. He said to me, George, listen, go with your story and tell people what you've experienced in life so that people can understand what other people are going through, and they don't want to talk about it because God's made me and He knows my heart. And man, I had two elderly guys. They actually paid me to play with me, and no, they didn't put anything inside of me or anything, but just the fact that another man touched my body makes me sick, to be honest with you. And being a 16-year-old boy going through that, let me tell you, it's not something that you wish upon anybody. And it's something that I thought I wanted to share with you guys because it's something that I've never spoken about. I don't think I've ever mentioned it to anybody for that matter. And I might have. I think I told my brother. My brother might be the only person who knows. I found my brother when I was 24 years old, by the way. I met him when I was a small child. I saw him, I think, 2 or 3 times since my mother's death. And he's the only person I actually looked for. And like I say, like, those are the type of things that just broke me as an individual, you know, and my self-worth and who I am. And I think all of those things just make you forget that you are still a child of God, you know. And each one of us, inside of us, like I say, we have a spirit in us that it belongs to God. It's His, and He's given it to you, and that's what gives you life. And God values each and every one of us, irrespective of what you've done or what you've gone through in your life. And No other human being is worthy to judge any human for what they've endured in life. And so that's probably one of the hardest things I had to face in my life. And I'll be honest, I faced some difficult times, and it's hard. And not only that, like I said, I was quite the Christian going boy, and I had a strong sort of foundation. Even though I grew up the way I grew up, I always tried to do things right, and I did read the Bible, but I didn't quite understand it. And I had sort of a guideline, but I think God's always protected. I know God's always protected me. I must stop saying I think. I know for a fact He's protected me. And I mean, I remember it's always been deceitful and deceitful and deceitful. And every single relationship I've had, from the first one to the last one, is always deceit and deceit and deceit. And we are such deceitful beings. And God says that you are a deceitful generation. And that's why I said to you guys, if you think about it, can you name an individual you haven't deceived in your life? And it's a big question, because a small little lie is deceit. If you have to be at the bus stop at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and you tell someone you have to be there at 1 just so that you're on time, you are lying. It's a lie. A white little lie is a lie. If you steal a match, or if you robbed the bank, you've stolen, you've committed a sin. And God looks at sin different the way we look at it. Right is right and wrong is wrong, people. And I'm being honest with you. We really need to have a second look at each other, because we don't know who we are dealing with. We don't know what struggles people have gone through. But like I said, I was a rugged boy. I went through a lot. And how I'm still here today, as I've said, it's only God's grace, because I don't think a single person can endure what I've endured and still sit here today as sane as I am. And with the cognitive ability that I have, I'm actually quite normal for someone that has endured the life I have. It's just I've been dealt the wrong hand of life for most of my life. And like I said, from the first girlfriend I had, it was lies and cheats and lies and cheats. And that's why I've just lost the plot completely. And not blaming my actions, because ultimately each and every one of us has a choice to be better. Hence, I'm sitting here today at the age of 39, and I'm going to be better, or I am better. I've been a lot better for a long time, and I'm going to go into a bit more detail on the other side of my life. So anyway, so that's just something that I wanted to mention, going back, that I thought about, that I should have mentioned as well, because it's hard talking about these things, but I think people need to know about it, Anyway, so I was in this brothel and selling drugs, and again, the drug dealers used to come there at night, and police would drop them off with bags and bags and bags of drugs. It's ridiculous, man. It's honestly, we live in peril times, man. We are not living in good times. And if that's the sort of thing that goes on around the corner, and this was when I was 20 years, it's 20 years back, it was already like this. And it's the side of life people don't talk about, and it's the side of life we should be talking about, because that's the side of life where the problem starts. And if we can't control the small little actions, then how do we expect to control the bigger actions, the big corruption, the big things that are going wrong in the world? Governments are so corrupt nowadays. Police are corrupt. Everybody is corrupt. And it actually starts with each one of us, inside of us. And we have a choice to say, it's right or it's wrong. We're not going to do something, And anyway, so in this, it's just drugs and women and gangsters and guns, and it was horrendous. But anyway, I stuck it through. I survived all of that. In that house one night is, I think, the second time or the third time probably, I honestly think that I passed away, and God saved my life once again. The first time I mentioned to you guys was in a bicycle accident. The second time I should have died was on that drug overdose. Well, tablets. I don't even know what tablets it was, just like a lot of tablets, I can tell you that. And then the third time was, I'm not going to mention, because I don't want to promote drugs, guys. I'm not going to mention what I used, but I've used everything. There's nothing I haven't used. And a lot. If I say a lot, I mean a lot. Where people normally take 1 or 2, I take 10 or 20. And I'm not lying. I'm not over exaggerating. So the one night I was completely out of it. And I remember sitting on the couch, on the side of the couch actually. And I just fell back. And I felt my spirit out of my body, because I could literally see myself like from the air floating out of my body. And I thought to myself, like, so this is how it feels to be dead. So now you've done it, George. Well done. You've now finally killed yourself. And just like my spirit was back in my body, and I got back up and I stood up and started walking about. And it's again, God saved my life that night. And then I continued on this path for at least three years on and off. I quit 3 times. So the first time I quit, I went back to the people who took me in, and I said to them, they actually asked me, they said, listen, George, what's going on? It was drugs. And I said, yep, nope, it is. And what they didn't quite understand or know at the time is I've experienced so much rejection, and that move was just one more rejection. Although I think they honestly tried to do good, I don't think they knew the damage that was done to me as a being, because being rejected by family after family after family after family after family after family is horrendous. And I'll be honest about it. It's not easy. Yes, the first 3 months we call it the honeymoon phase. It's all great. 6 months in, 12 months out. It's not good. It's not good. But anyway, so they actually bought me a phone, and I said, oh, well, then I'll stop for the phone, you know. And I stopped for about 3 months, and I can't remember. I had no place to stay. I met this other friend, and I stayed with him. And then on the streets, because the guy that was owning this brothel, he also found out that I was selling to his ladies, and he was extremely upset. He chucked me out. And I stopped, like I said, at that time for about 3 months. And short after, I started again. And then I was on another whole level of things. And I remember the one day, one of my friends, and I actually feel sorry, because he was an honest, good guy. He was an accountant, and we started selling this, you know. We started making money quick bucks. It was, I mean, I made $1,000 a night, easy. No, it was easy. And like I said, I was fearless. I went in and out of places that I've slept in Khayelitsha, I've slept in Rostov, I've slept in, I think it's Kwanakatula or something. I've been in places that, and like I said, I was just absolutely fearless. I had no regard for my life. I ran into gunfights, not out of gunfights. And I mean, I remember one night we were so smashed. I phoned the cops because I saw things, and I thought that I probably was busy going nuts. I don't know. But anyway, and then I can't remember if the guy shot or threw the gun or what. And the cops stopped, and I ran after this, and like I said, I had absolutely no regard for my life. And yeah, and then this friend of mine, we started selling and using, and then, but anyway, the one day I was sitting on the couch at home, my heart stopped beating. When I went to go sit down, my heart stopped beating. And I remember that when my heart stopped beating, after about a couple of minutes, I started getting, not minutes, seconds, I got like drowsy, and then I got up, and I was like, and I phoned him, and I said to him, yeah, you don't want to know what's happening to me. And then he phoned his sister, and his sister was married or knew a doctor. I can't remember. The doctor was on the phone with me for about an hour to keep me alive, you know. And again, angels sent my way, because I should have died that day. Had I sat down, the doctor told me that if you were sitting down for 2-3 minutes, you would have just never gotten back up again. And shortly thereafter, a similar thing had happened. Again, I walked to a shop, and I actually collapsed on my way. And I don't know, I woke up from there. So again, my life was saved. And like I said, God's always had this plan with my life, and I never knew what the plan was. And I honestly know today what the plan is. The plan was that I would get this testimony out one day to tell people, you know what? Doesn't matter how tough life gets. If you have God on your side, you can face life. You might not have all the money in the world, all the finances, but you can have your dignity, and you can have your self-worth, and you can have the individual you are. And if you have God on your side and you have Christ in you, it's just so much better. I honestly wish that I'd known what I know today 20 years ago, because yes, my life started changing around about 2021, but I would have been so much different. But again, I think that God always, like, He doesn't intervene. And I started looking for God in 2018 again, and on and off, didn't know what I was doing. And but I'm going to get into that later. So I just want to get to the end of this video because it's, again, very long. So I had quit and I started again, and then I had that second where I was out and I woke up, and God honestly saved my life. I then moved to Paro. This guy phoned me and he said to me, listen, do you want to run my show in Paro, because I sent the guy out? And I said, yeah, no, fine, I'll come. And I mean, I had no place to stay, so for me it was worth it. And again, I quit the drugs again for I think it was at least 6 months. And then this friend of mine, he started visiting there, and I started sort of working. I was actually at that stage, I worked I think it started at 2 in the afternoon because I did the night shift, and I stayed in the back of the flat, so I was on the property. So I worked from 2 in the afternoon till 2 at night, or 4 in the afternoon, 2 in the night, I can't remember. And I used to get up 8 in the morning. Well, I was at 8 in the morning, I was at tech, and plus it was about a 5 or 10 kilometer walk. And I honestly tried to do this, but I must be honest, it was hard, and I never knew how to study. I still today, I don't know how to study. I find it very hard. I lack well, I won't say I lack concentration, just my mind is all over the place all the time. I'm a critical thinker, I am an analytical thinker, and on top of that I'm an overthinker, so my brain just never stops, and I can read something, listen to music, and know what's going on around me. And it's hard, but it's a blessing that God's given me, because of that blessing, it made me successful in my life, and it got me to where I am today, so that I can bring my testimony to you guys, And so, but anyway, I was working, and then a friend of mine, he started visiting, and he got me into the work I'm doing today, to be honest with you. And soon I started realizing, it got too much. Then I started taking evening classes, so I would work half day and then try evening class, and then I always failed. I could never get the studies right there. So eventually I had one or two choices. I either take tech night and take this other jobs full time. It was like half or a quarter of the pay, I can't remember, but it was something that I enjoyed. It's electronics, I do like it, I understand it, and I thought that I could make a living for myself out of this, And I then took a leap of faith. I walked out of that house. I said, listen guys, I'm out, thank you very much. By the way, I saw something in that house that's also, it's ruthless, man. I don't know why, if it was drugs or what the story was, but the owner, he kicked one of the ladies one night. I must be honest with you guys. Human beings are human beings, and you don't do that. I don't care who you are or what someone has done to you. If you're a man and you kick a woman like that, I'm telling you, you are a coward. Because in all my life, I've never hit a woman, despite everything I've gone through. Yes, women have hit me before, but I've never lifted my hands for a woman. I grabbed and stopped when I was being beaten, or I put them down somewhere, but I've never lifted my hand for a woman. And what happened that night is just utter disgrace. You don't do that. To be honest with you, what had happened next to that place I worked one day is there was a screaming outside, and I ran out, and there was a guy with a brick, and he was busy hitting this woman. I don't know if they were burgies or something, but I must be honest, I wanted to kill him, right? And remember, like I said, I had all of this rage in me. I was 21 years old. I was fit as an ox. I was strong at this stage. Like I bought myself weights, and I was just lifting, and I was super, super strong. and I grabbed this guy and I choked him, and I must be honest, he pooped himself because he was nearly dead. If people didn't stop me, I was probably going to kill him. Again, God just graciously saved my life again that day, because I would have honestly killed him, because it really made me upset, and I don't like it, But anyway, so I think I'm going to cut this video here, because right about years when I walked out of this and I started this new job, and I'm about to go on a complete life transformation from here onwards. And I'm actually seeing the individual who gave me this job tomorrow, because I honestly need to talk to him about a couple of things that's gone right and wrong, and he's one of the angels who were sent my way. But yeah, nevertheless, I'm going to cut this video here, guys. I just thought I'd go back on a couple of things that I think I've missed, and I think it was important to mention, and I will continue this. I don't know if I'm going to do a video tomorrow, because tomorrow I've got a church seminar on I'm honestly studying the word, because I honestly believe that we've been misled by a long shot, and I don't think it's deliberate, or it might be, I don't know. But God is honestly obedience, obedience, obedience. Doesn't matter what anybody says. Read the Bible for yourselves. I've read this thing in the last 8 months. God's called me about 8 months ago, and he said to me, George, how did you come about all of this with your standard 7, man? How did you get all of this? And yeah, you read all the manuals, so if you're interested, you can do this. So why are you not saving your soul? Why haven't you read the manuscript I've given you? And I must be honest with you guys, it's 8 months. I haven't stopped reading this thing. I'm reading it every single day, and it's like I can't get enough of this. There's so much information to take in, and I honestly urge each and every one of you, read your Bibles, study it, and if you don't believe the Bible, do the historical studies and find the historicity behind it, because this thing is true, and it's more than just true. It's a living word, like it explains in itself. But anyway, this video is getting very long now. I thought I'd get this out there. Guys, I might not be available tomorrow, but I think Thursday we're going to continue this. Have a blessed evening. Good night all.